The movement must continue. See, we let it go to sleep. This movement's got to be woke up again.
Good afternoon, Plug family, and welcome to Unite Louisville. My name is Renee Unique, and today we got so much to talk about. It has been a trying week here in Louisville, Kentucky. It really has. And Plug family, I tell you, we have to do something as a community. Our young people are dying. It's just so much that is going on, so like I always said, we're living in trying times, where people are afraid to go outside. Children cannot play in their front yards. Basically, families are living in war zones right now. This week all over the city, we had carjackings, stabbings, murders. Also we're sitting at 173 homicides in 2021. Last year in 2020, we had it's not little, but no. Over 500 people have been injured or killed in the city of Louisville. Our black males are targets. 80% of murders, homicides in Louisville, Kentucky alone are black males. What's going on out here? Is it retaliation, gang affiliation, people beefing over social media, gang wars? It doesn't make any sense because our black males, our fathers and our sons, they are providers, they are protectors, and we need we need our black men, but they're getting killed like animals out here. Mm-hmm. We talk about the problems, but what are the solutions? What are some things that we can do together? What are some things that our educators can do? What are some things as parents we can do? What can we do in our own neighborhoods? Because, at some point, it has to stop, but we don't know if is it going to stop, so if it's not going to stop and we're sick and tired of being tired, what can we do to help curb some of this violence that is going on in our city? I have the opportunity to be out there and be active and meet so many great heroes and sheroes out there that are doing a lot of the work out there in the boots on the ground. And I have a guest today that is doing that because she has turned her pain into purpose. And my guest today is Elgina.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Elgina Smith, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, ma'am. And I had a pleasure of meeting you the other day at one of your events.
Absolutely.
And can you please tell everybody, if they don't know who you are, what your purpose is and why you're doing it? You started the organization.
I just want to say thank you for having me today. My name is, as you stated, Elgina Smith. Mm-hmm. I am a morning mother activist. I say that I'm an activist because I lift my voice to say what some moms are not ready to say, and to actually put pen to pad and write books to actually record what needs to be a process to get through the grief. I make my son Anthony Jr. a promise at his casket. February the 16th is the day that I laid him to rest. He was taken from us February the 7th, 2015. No one in my family had ever experienced homicide. We are a family of believers. We have prayed and covered our entire family. All of my life, that's all I know is God and Him to be a provider, a way maker, and a protector. And so when this tragedy happened to us, I could choose two paths: to be better or bitter. Right. And I just said, Lord, if this was your will, help me to understand and live a life that is going to be a demonstration of the Christian faith, that I don't turn a believer into, a blasphemer that will curse God and say, because this happened to me, I'm going to turn away from everything that I've grown up and I've believed in all these years. And so I found my faith to be increased through this. And every day I live on purpose with a purpose. And that's what you were experiencing on Sunday, November the 7th. It's called When Mourners Meet, They Mend. Right. Because I understand that for a person that, like ourselves, that had never been involved in activity that would bring something like that to our doorstep, we needed to understand, and we needed a community to support us, to love on us, that was on this journey maybe a couple steps ahead of us with some years of experience. And so we looked for a village to support us and take us in and nurture on us. And there was very little for shelter. No one was able to actually accommodate the whole need of the entire family. And so we decided to be those activists. We decided to take that task on as an entire family, to give out of our own needs what we needed and we could not find. I put it in the books. We began to bring people together. And so this is a manifestation of 7 years.
Right. And one thing about it's an unexpected tragedy that I cannot imagine going through that, losing a child. None of us can. And a lot of people, they sit back and they say, oh, well, okay, when they see it on the news, until it happens to you.
Absolutely.
Until it happens to you and your family member. So, I always say that don't bury your pain and sorrow by yourself. Mm-hmm. There are supporters. There are people out there that understand what you're going through. And, and it is unexpected. So some of the things that we have to, especially as Black people, things that we have to look into. Okay, do I have a life insurance policy? Do I need counseling? Who can I trust? Is LMPD actually going to do their job like they said they're going to do? So if you've experienced that, as far as, life
Absolutely.
Insurance and
Absolutely.
Can you tell us exactly,
You've hit on so many important factors, and it's just layers and layers and layers to homicide. First of all, you get this initial shock. This now will be your reality. You will live this truth every day. And the community as a whole, worldwide, I'm sure, just looks at homicide like this family is plagued with something like COVID. I don't want to be around you. Whatever you caused for this to happen to your family, then I'm going to stay away from you. And I'm not vaccinated enough to say, right, I can handle what you're going through. And so that's where the first fallout happens. People do not want to kind of connect with those families. And it's, for whatever the reason, no reason has validated someone to take another person's life. Right. It could be the most awful act that either party done. Right. And if it was something so horrific that, that person felt that they needed to take that person's life, the family didn't have anything to do with that, or they're being punished as well for the actions of either party, because everybody loses. And right, that's what I want the viewers and the listeners to know. Everybody loses, both families. This family that has the potential killer, right, loses their person if they're arrested, or just the normalcy of their life. And we live in absence, right, of our loved one, and we pay for the damage that they've done. Right. So it looks different for support for us.
So I tell you what, we're gonna go on break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about grief, and we're also gonna talk about the retaliation and the pain and anger that people feel after a loved one is gone when we come back. Hi, my name is Renee Unique with Unite Louisville on the Plug Network Online. Check me out every Friday at noon on your lunch break. Stay connected and stay plugged in.
Are you a poet for the people? illuminating the emotions of those who know what suffering from an unjust system feels like. Everyone doesn't have the opportunity to hold a crowd by the ears, so for us to take on that role with our God-given craft, it's only right. Are you a poet for the people? A destiny meant not for the weak. We too have suffered trials and tribulations, experienced in rebuilding what was once torn down with the words that we speak.
Positive vibes from me to you. I am Latoya with the Toy Box. Join me bi-weekly on the Plug Network online. That's Monday nights at 7 p.m. ready to do your work. Imagine a world happy, healthy, and healed because you showed up for you. So stay plugged in.
When you've been pastoring a congregation for 60 years, you got to be very careful who you recommend. I have experienced Spring Valley working with families that don't have the ability to pay.
Changing Image Barbershop is your best choice for your family haircuts. Just off of Hikes Lane in the Bardstown Square Shopping Center. Changing Image Barbershop has lots of parking and plenty of seats inside with a great family environment where every customer is treated professionally and like family. They specialized in the newest styles and cuts. Changing Image is the best barbershop in the Ville. They now have a braider and over 15 barbers available to you. Call them at 502-907-0010 or visit them at 2251 Hikes Lane in the Bardstown Square Shopping Center.
And welcome back again. My name is Renee Unique with Unite Louisville, and today's guest is Regina Smith with Kentucky Protect the Village. And if you were listening earlier during the show, we were talking about grieving. And so, Regina, you actually are a grief counselor, correct?
I am a grief and life coach. What that looks like is when families are initially hit with the reality of they have to now walk this new normal life. I offer services to those families at their request because I work from my own reference. I knew I didn't want to be approached right off with, oh my God, here, I can help you. That person has to be willing to do the work to accept, that they are going to live life in a new way. And so what grief counseling and coaching looks like is working with the now. I'm not a therapist. I do not have license to go back and dig up your history, but what I can do is give you day-to-day action plans on how to work with grief and to walk with this new companion that you never knew that you said I do to.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And grief actually can look in so many different ways and aspects because listening the other day at your event, you have mothers in there that are basically not only their mothers, but they're grandparents. Mm-hmm. So they're taking on roles and responsibilities as far as taking care of their grandchildren without their parents actually in their lives. Mm-hmm. They're not in their life anymore. So you're dealing with a whole nother situation, not only that you're dealing with your trauma, but you're also dealing with the trauma of the children.
Absolutely.
Are the wife or husband, you're dealing with bills, you're dealing on how you're going to go with this, and you're dealing with safety, because a lot of times if my house is shot up,
it's not a safe place.
It's not a safe place.
No.
Where am I going to go? Who can I trust? Who can I talk to? Who can I support? So a lot of people feel alone, and what you're doing is beautiful.
Thank you.
Because people are feeling alone and they are afraid and they're scared. Just imagine you living in this box and this has happened to you, but and then you feel like someone's out there, they know something, right?
Absolutely.
So you're trying to get answers. Someone knows something, and they're also afraid because they're either living in that same neighborhood or they may know the individual that has done it.
Absolutely.
So there's never a win-win situation to this at all. Can you tell us about the book?
Well, I made my son a promise at the casket. I told him, I said, Anthony, we call him AJ. He's named for his father. He's a junior. I said, you'll never be forgotten. And what families like mine go through is we're constantly defending the dead. We have to always make sure that their name is spoken well of. And I said, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. If you want to know my story, I've put it in between a binded book. And every single chapter of my life, I'm going to take you from birth back to the Creator. And I'm going to let you know exactly who we were. I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide. My family lived a life that was totally normal. And then this horrible act happened on February the 7th and destroyed everything that we knew to just be regular. Regular means so much. And ladies and gentlemen that are tuned in, if you have every member in your family still accounted for, know that you're blessed. That this is just an amazing opportunity to undo some of the things that you may be doing right now. Like not taking for granted that you have every member and saying I love you and doing family vacations and calling each other and apologizing. Because when you have something like this happen, that's the regret you live with. And because I had a relationship with my child and I loved him dearly, I don't mourn in that way. I mourn for my future with him. Because everything that we did in between the dash, his birth date and his death date, I'm proud of. He was a good kid. I raised a man to be, you know? And so my story needs to be told. Your story needs to be told. Everyone has something unique to offer on this journey. And we're no celebrities. We just happen to want to be a part of either one or two things. Somebody is. They're going to be a part of the process of healing, or they're going to cause you pain and keep you, you know, stuck in this hurt. And so there's sayers and doers. And we just wanted to do something. And that's what you see morning after morning.
Yes, let's see that.
The first novel, it walks you through every single step. I've never wrote anything except a doctor's excuse for my kids or a tardy note.
Right.
So I'm an author for the first time. I wrote my book with B.K. Royston Book Company and didn't have an idea on how to get something out of my head in between some pages and printed and sold on Amazon. So I thank God for this. And then I didn't only want to write a book. I wanted to give you a guide and a companion. This is it for every problem that we went through, finding out at the final hour that we were uninsured, and I paid a policy for 18 years of this man's life. And to find out that there's a thing called child term rider. And if this child terms in between the time that the accident happens and they didn't switch over, you are uncovered. So 18 years worth of payments on top of him not, being alive anymore. We had to suffer with that. So we have the grief book as well. And it's awesome.
So before we're going on break or break. Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you can be a part of your organization.
When mornings meet they men.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Renee Unique with Unite Louisville on the Plug Network Online. Check me out every Friday at noon on your lunch break. Stay connected and stay plugged in.
Are you a poet for the people? Illuminating the emotions of those who know what suffering from an unjust system feels like. Everyone doesn't have the opportunity to hold a crowd by the ears, so for us to take on that role with our God-given craft, it's only right. Are you a poet for the people? A destiny meant not for the weak. We too have suffered trials and tribulations, experienced in rebuilding what was once torn down with the words that we speak.
Positive vibes from me to you. I am Latoya with the Toy Box. Join me bi-weekly on the Plug Network Online. That's Monday nights at 7 p.m. ready to do your work. Imagine a world happy, healthy, and healed because you showed up for you. So stay plugged in.
When you've been pastoring a congregation for 60 years, You got to be very careful who you recommend. I have experienced Spring Valley working with families that don't have the ability to pay.
Changing Image Barbershop is your best choice for your family haircuts. Just off of Hikes Lane in the Bardstown Square Shopping Center. Changing Image Barbershop has lots of parking and plenty of seats inside with a great family environment where every customer is treated professionally and like family. They specialized in the newest styles and cuts. Changing Image is the best barbershop in the Ville. They now have a braider and over 15 barbers available to you. Call them at 502-907-0010 or visit them at 2251 Hikes Lane in the Bardstown Square Shopping Center.
Hi, and we're back with Elgina Smith with the Good Grief's Guide to Healing. And we was just talking about your book over the break. And I'm telling you, this is amazing. This is beautiful. This is spiritual healing. I am so speechless. You know, there's a story you were telling me about the backstory on.
So
how this
everything
came
that
about.
happens while I journey you through our testimony, this is the truth. This book is like the Griever's Bible. It tells you every single step from the casket to my 5 years experience at the time on what to do, how to do, some things that nobody is willing to ask questions about. So I talk about those things. And one of the things we were talking about on break was that I had a premonition of Anthony's death before I even knew about his birth. And so a young 18-year-old girl, very inexperienced in life in general. My grandmother always told me, you're a wise soul and God is going to visit you in dreams. And I was like, okay. And I would always have these kind of crazy dreams and I would always pass it off as, oh, I ate something crazy last night. But honestly, I was about 3 months pregnant and I kept having this dream about this young man laying on a hospital table with the highlights, sort of like the ones here in the studio, and I couldn't see his face, and I didn't know anyone at 18 years old, and I'm like screaming for this person, and I hear the doctors telling me, do you want him? Do you want him? Do you still want him? And I would never get to see who this was and this body. I couldn't identify. I did not know who it was, and I never seen the face, and I would always be prompted to wake up, you know, feeling anxious and sweaty. And I was like, why am I having this? And then I had this reoccurring dream at about 5 months. And I knew the sex of my baby. And this time, the doctor was, the person was laying on the bed. And I was like, is it me laying on the bed? And it wasn't me. And so every time I would try to go closer, they would say, no, 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 you got to get back. And I promise you this. I never saw the face. But when I got to University Hospital of Louisville, and they denied me from seeing him, I knew exactly that God was giving me that premonition that you can't see him. You can't see him, but you remember when I warned you 18 years ago, because this person was the person that you were carrying. And it just made such a light go off in my mind, like, oh my God, you've been preparing me all of these years for this. And they kept telling me at the university, you can't see him. You don't want to see him like this. And I know that that was just those two, premonition and intuition, dreams all coming together. Like I had thoughts of this. And it really was exactly how it went, those lights. And they were like, he was shot in the head. You don't want that image. And so I rest in that. Jesus. Knowing that God was guarding me even before he was even birthed in this world, that I was going to deal with something. And when his 18-year-old body was laying across that casket, that was the fate. That's all I could see was the feet in the body. And I knew right then that that was exactly what God was warning me for. Yeah. You know. Yeah. It's been really real. You find out a lot about yourself when you're going through grief. And I want to tell anyone that has the intuition, the premonition, you're not crazy. it's biblical that, you know, you can be visited in your dreams for warning. The Bible speaks about warning coming before destruction, and you just having that ability to lean in and listen and you know, take whatever you're giving as a warning sign to, you know, do it better, correct some things, or just prepare. Because, you know, whatever the will is, it's going to be the will. And so I decided to be better and not bitter, and work with families that are not Christ-centered, do not understand that everyone has an expiration date. And though I feel like my son's life went out of sequence, so much so I have to be grateful for, because Anthony was in the car with 4 other adolescents, and he was the only one that lost his life. And I wrestled with that, and I said, God, why my child? You know, that's the first question everybody asks, why me? And then I was reminded, why not my child? Because God gave his only forgotten son. He gave it so that we can have life. And my brother whispered in my ear, he was the only one fitting to die. He knew the Lord. We took him to church every week. And so that gives me comfort. And I said, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be okay with what God has willed for me to do, because many are called, but few are chosen.
That's right.
And I know that I'm called and chosen to be a mourning mother activist, to let them see the good in the bad.
And I see that and I feel that with just meeting you and just hearing you and feeling you. I see the whole aura of his ways.
I have no other desire. I desire to be the hands and feet of God, to help with the loss. My son's death brought 19 people. He was 3 weeks short of his 19th birthday to Christ. They were baptized and saved. So even in that, even in death, he's still a good God. And
Not
before
in vain.
before I take anything away from the faithfulness, he's provided every need, even with no insurance, paid in full, didn't owe anybody. You know, you can't be like, woe is me. And so many people are stuck in this pain, and we have organs that are connected to grief, and you're killing yourself literally by being bitter. Live on purpose, with a purpose, in legacy of your loved one. So much has happened in these 6 years, short 6 years, but it feels like a lifetime that I've lived without him, but I'm living for him. So he's forever present in my life, and I look for him. I look for him in the little things, like the weather. November the 7th was supposed to be cold. It was supposed to be dreary. We had ice on the ground earlier that morning, and God shined on us. And all of everything that we planned was made possible through him. And so I'm just...
And everything is possible through him. How can everyone get a hold of you?
Get on Facebook. Get on Facebook. I'm on Elgina Bullock Smith is my name. When Mornings Meet They Mend. I have a radio show, and I do it every Friday. It's called Beauty for Ashes. I Speak Life on Envision Radio. I am very connectable. I want to be connected. So reach out to me. My phone number, my business number is 554-8222. And I do grief counseling. If you need someone to talk to, call me up. Let's talk.
Yes, and God bless you.
Thank you for having me today. Thank you so much for even taking and making this important. Thank you.
I think we helped some people today.
We did.
I think. Until next time, Plug family, I am you. Have a good weekend.
Hi, my name is Renee Unique with Unite Louisville on the Plug Network Online. Check me out every Friday at noon on your lunch break. Stay connected and stay plugged in.
Are you a poet for the people? Illuminating the emotions of those who know what suffering from an unjust system feels like. Everyone doesn't have the opportunity to hold a crowd by the ears, so for us to take on that role with our God-given craft, it's only right. Are you a poet for the people? A destiny meant not for the weak. We too have suffered trials and tribulations, experienced in rebuilding what was once torn down with the words that we speak.
Positive vibes from me to you. I am Latoya with the Toy Box. Join me bi-weekly on the Plug Network online. That's Monday nights at 7 p.m. ready to do your work. Imagine a world happy, healthy, and healed because you showed up for you. So stay plugged in.
When you've been pastoring a congregation for 60 years, you got to be very careful who you recommend. I have experienced Spring Valley working with families that don't have the ability to pay.
Changing Image Barbershop is your best choice for your family haircuts. Just off of Hikes Lane in the Bardstown Square Shopping Center. Changing Image Barbershop has lots of parking and plenty of seats inside with a great family environment where every customer is treated professionally and like family. They specialized in the newest styles and cuts. Changing Image is the best barbershop in the Ville. They now have a braider and over 15 barbers available to you. Call them at 502-907-0010 or visit them at 2251 Hikes Lane in the Bardstown Square Shopping Center.